Premier Ford, please. If you can respond to the fact that the U.S. is planning to levy in stacked tariffs, so 25% tariffs stacked on aluminum and steel on incoming 25% on March 12th. What are you going to do about that?
Well, first of all, nothing has happened. As we know, this changes from day to day to day. So let's see what happens on the 12th. We have a strong group of premiers, and we'll sit down. We'll be discussing this. But right now, I'm not going to speculate because it was just 5 or 6 days ago there was going to be a 30-day reprieve.
Monsieur Legault, est-ce qu'on peut vous entendre en français là-dessus sur la possibilité, just for one moment, please, Premier Ford. Est-ce qu'on peut vous entendre là-dessus de la possibilité qu'il y ait 50% d'augmentation de tarifs à partir du 12 mars?
Oui. Bon, d'abord, ce qui est important, je pense, c'est de faire le plus rapidement possible une entente globale avec les États-Unis sur l'ensemble des sujets. On ne peut pas continuer à avoir des nouvelles propositions, des nouvelles menaces à chaque semaine. Maintenant, pour ce qui est de l'aluminium, je pense qu'on ne doit rien exclure. Rien exclure parce que, je rappelle les chiffres, les États-Unis consomment 5 millions de tonnes d'aluminium par année, puis en produisent seulement 7 à 800 000, donc 14 le Québec en fournit 60 le reste du Canada 5 Ça veut dire que 65 des besoins des États-Unis sont fournis par le Canada. Quand on regarde la planète, il n'y a pas de surcapacité. La capacité est égale aux besoins. Donc, c'est vraiment les États-Unis qui sont mal pris. Puis je pense qu'il ne faut rien exclure, même pas exclure de mettre des tarifs à l'exportation. J'ai proposé ça à mes collègues. On va regarder ça comme un scénario, une taxe à l'importation seulement aux États-Unis, donc ce qui inciterait nos alumineries à exporter en Europe, en Asie, ailleurs dans le monde, pour mettre en difficulté le gouvernement américain qui sera obligé de payer plus de frais de transport en important de l'aluminium de l'Asie, du reste du monde.
What effect the snow is having on your meetings here, and obviously Premier King's not here, are more premiers leaving early?
What effect snow has? We're Canadian. This is Washington, but we're used to the snow. But we're just so grateful. Folks, this is the first time 13 premiers have showed up to Washington.
It's only 12.
Well, one just left. So this is the first time 13 premiers have showed up to Washington, and I'm so grateful as chair to have such a talented group standing with me right here, and all different perspectives around the country. And every perspective is really concerning their area, but do you know what everyone agrees on? Is protecting Canada as a whole. And we're just grateful to have a great group.
What does success look like given how there's so much uncertainty, as you were saying? Yeah. Trump says one day there's a moratorium for 30 days, the next day there's the tariffs on aluminum and steel. What does success look like from this mission? Well,
what success looks like is zero tariffs. We're their largest trading partner. We're their #1 customer. And I'm not too sure if they fully understand the impact on both countries, both sides of the border. Inflation will happen. Interest rates will go up. Plants will be closed on both sides of the border. And the more we communicate, the better it is. We're down here to listen to our U.S. colleagues. We're down here to communicate with the U.S. colleagues and business people on both sides of the border. And we have to make sure that we communicate how important it is to be stronger together. It's absolutely essential. They understand. And to be very frank, the people I've met, no matter if it's business or on the political side, they all get it. So we have to make sure that gets communicated up to President Trump.
Many members of the Trump administration. Why? What influence do you really have?
Well, we're meeting with a lot of senators, and as you saw, Senator Kramer was there last night. We're meeting Congress, congressional people as well. Make no mistake about it, the President knows we're here. He knows we're concerned. He knows we're working across the aisle, no matter if it's Democrat or Republican. We just want to move forward. We'd like zero tariffs. That's what we'd like.
Est-ce que les autres premiers ministres acceptent qu'on renégocie l'entente de libre-échange avec M. Trump, ou vous êtes cavalier seul dans cette idée?
Ça fait partie des discussions. Il y en a qui sont pour, il y en a qui sont contre. Évidemment, la question qui se pose, c'est peut-on négocier avec un premier ministre au Canada qui est là de façon temporaire? Moi, ce que je me dis, là je parle en mon nom, c'est le plus vite on commence et le plus vite on va conclure, parce que ça va prendre plusieurs mois pour renégocier l'ensemble de l'entente. Mais pour moi, on est mieux de commencer le plus rapidement possible parce que l'élection fédérale pourrait avoir lieu dans plusieurs mois. Donc, on retarderait et on continuerait de créer de l'incertitude. Ce qu'il faut comprendre actuellement, c'est que l'économie du Canada est sur pause. Il n'y a pas d'investissement ou presque pas d'investissement qui se font des entreprises dans l'économie canadienne. Puis là, bien, il est temps qu'on travaille comme des alliés avec les États-Unis, contre la Chine, contre la Russie, mais pas entre nous deux.
Premier Legault, if you would mind in English, can you talk about whether or not it's time for retaliation, whether or not there's consensus amongst the premiers as to when we fight back with retaliatory tariffs? Or here on a diplomatic mission, it doesn't appear to be working.
Okay. First, I think retaliation must be done only if and only if there are tariffs that are really charged. So far, it's not done. It won't be done before March 4th or March the 12th, so we must not put any retaliation measures before, but we have to prepare ourselves. We already announced a list of counter-tariff. I think we should consider also putting exportation tariff on products like aluminum, where they really need us. But I think the first choice is to have no tariff, to have a general agreement as soon as possible. And maybe Mr. Trump, when you look at what happened in the last few weeks, maybe he will postpone those tariffs. So we have to be careful. We want to have a deal with no tariff.
I want to take issue with the question that was just raised because I think that the proposal that this hasn't been successful is false. We heard that tariffs were going to come in place on January 20th, and they didn't. We heard tariffs were going to come in place in February, and they didn't. We now have a reprieve till March, and we have a phenomenal team, Canada, that is here and united, engaging with Americans who agree that they see the impact that this is going to have on Americans who don't want to pay more money for gas and who don't want to pay more money for food, and they don't want to pay more. And so we are getting a lot of support from the Americans that we're meeting with, businesses, senators, Congress people alike, who all agreed that these tariffs are going to have a negative impact on the U.S., and we're seeing that progress and how the tariffs continue to get pushed off. Monsieur le En français, la même chose. Sur l'exportation? Oui, les tarifs d'exportation, si vous êtes d'accord. Mais c'est clair qu'on devait avoir tous les outils dans notre sur nos tables pour les utiliser si on les a besoin. Mais à ce point, on ne les a pas besoin parce que c'est clair qu'on a une belle relation avec les États-Unis. Ils ont besoin de nous autres et nos produits, puis on a besoin de eux autres et leurs produits aussi. On a des économies tellement intégrées. C'est clair que sans l'aluminium, on verra l'inflation aux États-Unis qui montrait d'une façon qu'en quelques jours, ils réalisaient la peine de cette décision-là. Alors, nous avons avons une équipe ici forte qui a réussi à éviter des tarifs à ce point. On va continuer de réussir d'éviter les tarifs parce que c'est clair pour les Américains en Congrès, les sénateurs, les gouverneurs, que ça va rendre de la peine aux Américains qui ont besoin de cet aluminium, qui ont besoin de cette énergie et de cette électricité, qui ont besoin de notre partenariat pour leur nourriture et pour essayer d'assurer que leurs prix sont bas. Alors moi, je suis vraiment fière de cette équipe du Canada qui fait un bon travail aujourd'hui, demain et pour les prochains 30 jours et les 30 jours après ça pour défendre l'économie du Canada et de continuer d'avancer nos liens avec les États-Unis comme des bons voisins, comme des bons partenaires, les meilleurs partenaires que les États-Unis a, c'est nous autres au Canada. On va continuer d'avancer ce partenariat-là.
Comme le demande.
Absolument, c'est quelque chose qui doit arriver avant le 1er avril. Alors, nous sommes tout à fait prêts à faire les négociations là où ils devraient être faits, avec l'entente, puis avec le monde global qui sont vraiment intéressés à ce qui se passe au moment ici entre le Canada et les États-Unis.
Premier Holt, on dairy, even friends of Canada down here raise the issue of dairy every time. Are any of the premiers, yourself included, willing to start talking about dairy and not getting rid of supply management, because none of them say that, but they do say we're too restrictive. So if we've got to ask for something, are we willing to give anything on their biggest irritant?
Well, the place to have those conversations is at the table in a review of the USMCA and a reconsideration of that agreement, because that's really where the last conversation ended and where we need to pick it back up to see what that negotiation is going to look like and what concessions are going to be made on both sides.
Dairy? No? No, I just want to say a few words on dairy. In Quebec, we are against changing the management of the offer. The reason why we have that is to protect our regions, all right? So we don't give any subsidies to milk producer. So the only thing we do is we manage the offer, and it's a way to protect small farms in all the regions. So for us, it's not negotiable. Oui. Nous, on est prêts à beaucoup de compromis dans l'aéronautique, dans la forêt, dans peut-être de la sécurité à long terme sur l'aluminium, mais il y a 2 points pour nous qui ne sont pas négociables. Un, la gestion de l'offre, parce que ça protège les régions du Québec. On ne donne aucune subvention aux producteurs de lait, contrairement à ce qui se fait aux États-Unis et ailleurs, mais c'est la façon de protéger nos petites fermes en région. Donc, ça, pour nous, ce n'est pas négociable. La deuxième chose pour nous qui n'est pas négociable, c'est la protection de la langue et de la culture dans toutes les ententes internationales. On a 9 millions d'habitants au Québec. On est entouré de 350 millions d'anglophones. Le français sera toujours vulnérable. Donc, dans les ententes internationales, c'est important pour nous de protéger le français et la culture. Le problème, c'est qu'on ne le sait pas. On n'a pas d'interlocuteur, mais effectivement, on ne peut pas continuer comme ça à réagir à chaque semaine à des nouvelles menaces. Il faut être capable de renégocier. Bon, c'est pas tout le monde qui est d'accord. Je passe la parole à Danielle.
Can I just say first a couple of things. I think diplomacy is working. I think that the fact that we got a 30-day reprieve was because we agreed to work on the cross-border problem of fentanyl. I was pleased to see the federal government announce a fentanyl czar, and my administration has already been in touch with him to talk about how in Alberta we can lend to the success of those efforts. So what I would say is what I've seen from this president is that he is prepared to make a deal. We've made a deal on that. I think we can make a deal on steel and aluminum by making very much the same argument that I've been making on energy and critical minerals. We've won the argument that those raw materials are essential to American success. It comes in, it makes value-added products, It creates good American jobs. It creates good American products that we buy back. Same thing for aluminum. They just do not make enough for their defense industry, their auto industry, and their critical needs. So I think aluminum, we can make the very same argument. And on steel, we buy as much steel products from them as they buy from us.
Premier Smith, when did you become aware of concerns over contracts at AHS, and do you think the RCMP should be called?
Well, I'm glad that we're going to have the Auditor General take a look at it. I first became aware of it when I saw the newspaper reporting on it, and we're interested in hearing what the Auditor General has to say. We've already set up a shared file so that they can get all of the documents that we have to see if there is any wrongdoing. If there's wrongdoing, we'd like to get to the bottom of it. And if there isn't, we need to find out why AHS is standing in the way of charter surgical centers.
How did you not know what your chief of staff was up to if the allegations were true?
Well, we've been asking for 8 months for any, as I understand it, from my health minister, for any indication of wrongdoing. We've not seen any. So I think we have to see if there's any wrongdoing first. And if there is, then we have to clean it up.
Do you still have confidence in your health minister? Do you still have confidence in your health minister?
I still have confidence in my health minister.
Okay, guys, so the Premier said today on to the next meeting.
On USMCA, it has to be renegotiated. I think we have to remember we've got 2 sets of tariffs. This first tariff was about dealing with the fentanyl crisis, and I think that we have satisfied the President that we're working on that. The second round of tariffs will come with the renegotiation of USMCA. And I think the sooner we get a government with a 4-year mandate, the sooner we can open that up and solve the broader range of tariff issues that we have.
So I just wanted to say, over the past few weeks, Canadians have seen that we can get results when we stick up for ourselves. And we are tough as Canadians. I mean, you see a little bit of snowfall here, the entire city of Washington, D.C. comes to a halt, but us Canadians, we're going outside without our coats on. And on peut le faire dans une façon bilingue en même temps. C'est comme ça comme les Canadiens. But the purpose of the trip here is not for us to come down and try to issue ultimatums and things like that. The purpose of the trip here is diplomacy. It's the warm and hearty handshake, making the case that the Canadian-American friendship has been the best in the world for decades and decades, and we want to continue that for decades more. And so the offensive that we're making here is a charm offensive. It's a friendship building, a relationship building exercise. And of course, as Canadians, we're always going to be able to stand up for ourselves. We always put our Canadian values first. But in this moment, it's crucial for us to use this window that we have with no tariffs to try and keep things that way.
One last question.